Not really.
If this is all we can get, then we probably wouldn't bother.
Just means we're going to be living at home till we're...
Yeah, it just shows how difficult it is as a first-time buyer.
It's not just that, you can't grow up, you can't move out, you can't get your own independence, because it's just impossible.
Gary and Nadine need help. Our expert, Barbara Goldsmith, believes she can find a place for them within their budget and in an area close by.
OK, you guys, well, you've certainly got your work cut out here in Ilkley. How much is it you've got to spend?
Around about 90 tops.
90,000?
Yeah. All
right, well, this house that I brought you out to show you here in Ilkley today was 90,000 5 years ago. It's now about 275,000. Well, I've got to find you an answer, so I'd like to suggest that there are a couple of areas not too far from Ilkley that we might go and look at where you're going to get something for your 90,000. Yeah. So are you ready to come and take a look?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go.
Many first-time buyers say they just can't find anywhere to live in the place they want to live.
Yes.
Do you think they're being a bit picky, though?
I think they're being very picky. I truly believe that it's a great time for first-time buyers to buy now.
Really?
Yes, I do.
But we hear all the time that first-time buyers can't buy anything.
Yes, there are lots of things that first-time buyers can't buy. But equally, there are a lot of places where first-time buyers can buy, as long as they're not going to be too picky. And I'm saying just go a little bit further, that extra mile, and you'll find some gems of areas all over the country where you can get in at really rock-bottom prices right now.
Barbara's list of areas that are great for first-time buyers include Burnley, Bolton and Accrington in Lancashire, Walsall and Coventry in the Midlands, and King's Cross in central London. Regeneration hotspots she believes are heading for a boom. What you're saying to first-time buyers is play the market, and that's the problem, isn't it? Because they're not experienced in the market by definition. So
yes.
It's all very risky.
There is a risk involved, but the risk is minimised, A, because they're not spending a whole lot of money on that first property. They're still not paying out rent. I don't feel as though they can lose, simply because the potential for growth of a £70,000 property over a £500,000 property is huge.
Peter has arrived in Spain. He feels investing in property abroad is the only way he can get on the property ladder. First stop, Andalusia, to meet someone who's just bought their first house. Beverly Carr is from Richmond, West London. She wanted to invest in a house but could only afford to buy abroad, feeling priced out of the UK. She came to Rute, a town north of Malaga, and found this, her first house.
I bought this house in July last year. I love it, it's my house, it's mine. In here we've got the kitchen and the bathroom. So as we come up to the second level, we've got two good-sized bedrooms. This is the guest bedroom. And if we go across here, if you look at the tiles, nice 70s style tiles, which are trendy now. This is my bedroom, again a good-sized double bedroom. And if we go up to the top floor, there's even more.
Beverly bought this house for £42,000. An equivalent property in Richmond costs around £400,000. The idea is that while she rents a place in the UK, she'll let this place out to holidaymakers.
This is what really sold it for me, was the roof terrace. Absolutely fantastic owning my own place. There's no way that I could get views like this and a house this size for £42,000. Absolutely fantastic. I love it.
The property needs a bit of renovation, but with house prices increasing, she hopes this will turn into a great investment. Peter meets up with Beverly for some advice.
So why did you choose to buy a house in this area then?
Basically because the prices in London were just far too much for a single person trying to get on the first rung of the property ladder.
So how did you go about finding the house then?
Looked on the internet, had a look at what was available for my budget, and spoke to some estate agents, and they showed me various houses in the area. And that was the one. I fell in love with the house as soon as I, walked in.
And how's it worked out for you?
Absolutely fantastic. No looking back whatsoever.
Spurred on by Beverly's success story, Peter comes to Alicante in southeast Spain, where there's a boom in people buying abroad. Of all property sold in Spain last year, 40% was sold to the British. He meets local agent Jill Pengelly to see how best to invest his £120,000.
So you got some properties to show me?
Certainly have. Shall we go?
Let's go.
Come on.
Back in the UK, and Richard has almost run out of options. His search for his own place is not going well. The only property he can find is a studio flat in Hemel Hempstead, 20 miles away from home, but with all the mod cons. This property is also £90,000, £20,000 over his budget.
It's cosy. Not quite so sure about this one. This is the kitchen, which is again nice and compact. It doesn't give me much more to what I've got already, so that's a quick decision, but I think it's going to be a no, unfortunately.
As Richard is finding, there are very few, if any, decent affordable houses. For his budget, maybe the only thing he could afford is one of these. These modular flats were built in Poland and constructed in 3 days here in South London. On the market, they'd sell for less than £100,000. Over the next 10 years, the government plans to build 1 million new homes in the southeast, some at £60,000, to help first-time buyers like Richard.
The government has pledged to build vast swathes of new houses, which should help first-time buyers, for £60,000. That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
Well, on the surface it sounds great, but how possible is it to build a house for £60,000? I would question the quality of the materials they use, the workmanship that would be used, and also, does it mean we're going to have vast swathes of council-y housing that will create the slums of tomorrow?
Richard wants to buy now, so Barbara gives him some financial advice. She thinks the solution lies in a new type of mortgage. Richard needs to be able to borrow more money, and she has some ideas.
Richard, we've got to get you more than £70,000. So I've got 3 options for you. The first one is rent a room. What this involves is you would let out one of the rooms in the house for maybe £4,500, and the lenders will triple that and allow you to borrow against how much rental you're likely to get for that room.
To be fair, it's not much of a jump up from where I was before, and I'm not going to get somewhere for 2 bedrooms for 85, so next.
Your second option, Richard, will be to buy with friends. This will give you the option to get up to £140,000 together, but obviously that would only give you 50% of the property, so you would lose some of the control of the ownership.
You mentioned control there. You do lose an aspect of control because it's not all mine, it is half somebody else's. It's a possibility, but I don't think at this point what I ideally want to do and what I've been looking at is a place for myself that's all mine, as it were.
Barbara's found a way to squeeze a quart out of a pint pot, but it is more risky. By using his parents as guarantors, Barbara has found mortgage lenders that will lend Richard up to £180,000. According to the Council of Mortgage Lenders, loans also based on parental income are increasingly popular, as young people can't afford to buy on their own.
I think it gets over the problem of money, not having enough, and B, the problem of the control. I think if the figures work out, that's the one I'll possibly go for.
The property overall is 109.
In Spain, our first-time buyer, Peter, is hunting for his first house.
There's a beautiful bedroom here with a terrace and a patio.
He believes he can get a foot on the property ladder here, and he hopes holiday letting would help pay the mortgage.
It's really lovely.
Yeah, lovely.
I think for a property like this, you'd probably be looking at about €300 a week.
Last year, it's estimated that up to 70,000 Spanish homes were bought by the British. Around 25,000 were new or bought off plan. That's buying a property before it's built. People wanting to cash in on cheap houses and holiday lets. Like Richard and Teresa from Shropshire. They put their money in a holiday let in Alicante, but it's turned into a disaster. They thought they were buying a dream property with lake views.